they will go back to the original manifesto, which
Okay.
was a very great manifesto. So most of them stand. Of course, there will be some changes and modifications, and especially, on the financial side, things change all the time. So you have to become current. But mainly, on what we stand for, most of the things I would say are still valid.
Do you think people understand the nuances of your manifesto, or do they have an eye? I mean, for all that you attract abuse for your supposed stances, you also, it's possible you attract some people for the wrong reasons, isn't it? If there's a media image of you as being very right-wing, people might be attracted to that media image.
I think, not so much, as I say, I don't sort of accept that, right? But yes, even though maybe some people want to be somewhere, maybe they were sort of in BNP or somewhere else and they want to jump in. However, we are the only party that our constitution clearly said that if you previous on this sort of extreme parties member, you cannot be a UKIP member.
Okay.
The Labour Party doesn't have anything like that. The Conservative Party doesn't have anything like that. They will have them, yeah. But of course we can't filter anybody that joins the party, even though we had to lose few members because we found out that they were linked to these parties. But you can't control everybody. So at the end of the day, a member is as good as his actions, and then if somebody doesn't conform with what the party wants to achieve, then, it shouldn't be a member. I kind of think that it is the anti-establishment role that we have played, and the fact that, Nigel came out and he was giving a straight answer, and he's the man who said, well, I don't know if he doesn't know the answer. So all these lies is that kind of, people are resilient to, and that's why they were looking for something different, and they had probably a lot of expectations that something like UKIP, would kind of become a sort of a reckoner force, which is what the people made us what we are.
Yeah.
I think that shows you, what can be done with a bit of sort of honesty and a bit of sort of, ability to fight.
Do you feel you can really make progress from where you are now without embracing social media and all that entails?
Yes, absolutely we can. I'll say we're the grassroots party, and the moment there is a call, there is a need, there is an election, we'll be there.
Okay.
We'll be there, and I think there are in certain areas. I mean, just give us a by-election, we fight them, and we're very good in by-elections because obviously we haven't got the resource of the big parties, but we can actually target areas where people can go there and help, and that's why we always did very well in by-elections.
So you're saying you will mainly be trying to attract people by door knocking and feet on the ground and that kind of thing?
The traditional methods, I think, they're absent at the moment, and I personally experienced it when I was canvassing, and I stood for Parliament. I ran in 2015, and I was down in Basel on the Billericay. People like to see somebody on the door.
Yeah.
And they like to talk to you, and even though the media try to convince you that social media has no need for that, and of course there are messages that sent, and a lot of people basically decide how they're going to vote based on on the TV debates and overall the manifesto, or whether like the leader or whatever. There are other people, however, they're very close to decide, and they decide on the candidate rather than the party, because they think, well, here's my end. And technically, if you think about, we have a representative democracy, right? It is really the person that matters rather than the party. However, it's been twisted in today's democracy that you vote for somebody that makes no difference whatsoever, because everything is driven etc. But in reality, democracy dictates that is a person that represents you in the parliament, and therefore for the ones who they understand it, they say, well, okay, from all these people, why should I vote for that one? He hasn't done anything for me. Yeah, he never turns up. I send him 10 emails, never responds. So why should I vote for him? There is somebody else who is doing the mileage. He's there. He gives me his address. I can contact him outright, and if he can do something, he will do something.
Okay.
So I think that hasn't actually died yet.
No.
Social media are not ready to replace it.
You don't believe so?
Not yet. Of course, social media is relevant to the young people, but I think the young people also like to participate in live audiences. They like to go to public meetings, and listen and participate. There's nothing like being in a live debate in the public meeting, and you get sort of the unexpected question from the audience, and this and that. It's brilliant. You see how people respond with something which they never expected before, or when somebody sort of attack you personally, how you deal with that, and it's brilliant. That sort of makes you or breaks you.
Yeah. So, I started off by asking about social media and politics, and you've given me a clear steer that you don't regard it as all that, really, is it?
I say we use them, and I know sort of it serves the purpose, but I can't rely 100% on them. If for example, if I was running a party and I was running my own campaign, I will only sort of divert certain funding towards the social media, but that wouldn't be 100% of the campaign. Because if it was 100% of a campaign, that would have been disaster.
I mean, paid advertising and campaigning is one thing, but the other things are the ordinary conversations your members and their opponents have, aren't they? I mean, that's a very self-generated thing. Generally, do you have a view on the way? Do you feel that social media is having a radical effect on politics?
I don't know whether it has a radical effect on politics. I know is a tool that can actually reach a lot of people instantly.
Yeah.
But the same thing, you can actually do a lot of damage to somebody instantly. All you have to do is just tweet the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And it's out there and everybody can read it. So, and it's also very, very quick. So whether that's going to become the future, I think it's too early to determine. But I think there is a lot of ground still for the conventional politics, for the people who actually go to public places, meet the people, listen to them, have a conversation. And I'm not sort of ready. Maybe, I don't know whether it's down to my age or something. I'm kind of not too old, but not too young either. But I have spoken to young people. For example, if you say tweet, it's there. They look at it, but that doesn't mean they actually. The question is whether they prefer it to go to a live meeting. And I think people, of course, they will read the tweets. You can reach them there, but if you actually ask them to choose, do you want to go to a proper public meeting to have a proper debate, or do you want to rely on these? You find out that people still want the conventional methods of politics and the discussion and the arguments, etc., rather than sort of somebody's opinion sent on a tweet message.
Okay. Now, just because I've been watching it a lot, and I was very interested to follow UKIP's progress ahead of the EU referendum, and it was clear to me there was a lot of activity from supporters on social media and quite driven, and a lot of anti-Labour Party sentiment in areas on the East Coast, for example. So I feel it was important for members. But overall, at the last election, I think statistics show that social media was dominated by what you might characterise as a left of centre view and supporting Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, because he managed to kind of motivate a lot of young people, and Jeremy was going to areas where he knew it was going to be a good crowd and make good publicity and sort of film it and send